Hello friends, Coach Bob here with you, and today we are going to be doing a little bit of busy work. You know why? Because sometimes that's what life is about, is the busyness of being busy. So I figured I'd take you on a few errands and have a little conversation about where Coach Vic is. You're probably missing her. I'm missing her. And she feels like she's just being absent from everything, but she really isn't. She is in the process of the completion of the wedding plans that are happening this Saturday for our youngest daughter. So in the interim of all of that, you know, life continues on. And so when there are things going on in the world that require attention that maybe she could have assisted with, she really can't help me. So today I am just going to take you on a few errands and show you some busyness, some of the busy stuff that I got going on. So the first thing that has to be done is my daughter told me her lock was making a weird noise. She lives in one of these little mini houses, and apparently her lock is going zip, zip, zip is how she described it. So let's see if we can get that fixed most skosh. All right. That's my goofy hat. Goofy hat feels good on my goofy head, though. Yeah, say hey.
Hi.
There you go. All right, good. She passed. All right. Time to see if I can't get this lock going. Where's your battery case? I got it in my hand.
And it went black.
That's okay. It's still recording.
Okay.
It still works. It just does that. You can just stand over there, it don't matter. You're not Martin Scorsese.
I wasn't playing on it.
Okay, anyway, it's magic. All right, time to put my other batteries back. Okay, I was about to take your phone thinking it was my phone, but I guess I won't do that. So you drive 25 minutes one way, 25 minutes the other way, 50-minute round trip to do a 2-minute job. I didn't even need to put my hat on for that.
I'm gonna probably buy me some of those online.
Okay.
But it's probably gonna be shipped to your address.
I'll help you out. We'll, next time you come to the house, we'll order them. I'll even use Mom's credit card to pay for them. That way you get free sunglasses. Anyway, let me get out of here. Love you. So I finished the job, and then she told me that hey Dad, the facilities here hooked up. Oh, check them out, doing a little car maintenance. Facilities here put an Amazon Alexa device in my home, and I need to set it up. So you know how that stuff goes. So we download the app. She doesn't realize she has an Amazon account, so she doesn't know her password, and of course they want to give you about 50 different things to do to make sure you are you, and then they made me type in her cell phone number, which was associated to a different account because that cell phone used to be either Vicky or me a long time ago, and so now that's all jacked up. We got her Alexa working and everything's working at her house. So let's go on to the next thing we got to do. And we got things to do. I mean, it's a runaround day. If it don't rain, it's gonna be good. I tell you one thing I gotta do, I gotta put gas in this thing or I'm gonna be walking. I think there's a gas station right up here. Da-da-da-da. Is there? International Airport, that's so funny, I just can't get over that. It's Tallahassee Regional for years and years. And we don't have customs here, so we're really an international airport by name only. Now, for those of you who are in the know with things, which is just about everybody, you know how stressful planning a marriage can be, or not planning a marriage. That's the easy part. No, actually, that's the real hard part. But for those of you who have done this before, and you know, my son's married, but when you're the parents of the of the groom, you don't really do a whole lot. So Coach Vic is planning this wedding, and she's really stressed, and she wants to make sure that everything's just perfect. One of the things I just realized, and you guys, I'm sure that you're way too smart to do anything like this. I left my mask at home, and so therefore I cannot go into a business to do a couple of things that I needed to do while I was out. So now I have to go 10 miles out of my way, 10 miles out, 10 miles back. So I guess that's 20 miles out of my way to be able to run my basic errands. That is just so irritating. But what I told Coach Vic, I said, you know, nothing in this world is perfect. We should strive for perfection and excellence, and understand that the things that go wrong will make it more memorable, and it will not be catastrophic. In fact, I would even say if the bride or the groom got cold feet and ran and left, it would still be the perfect wedding, because if you're not ready to get married, you shouldn't. And that would mean that it ended up the way it should have ended up to begin with. So maybe I'm just a goofball and see everything as always, you know, happy. But I'm not stressed about the wedding at all. I told her the least perfect thing that is going to be a part of the wedding would be the old fat bald-headed dude walking down the aisle with his beautiful daughter. By the way, I'm referring to me, if you weren't picking up on the subtlety of that. Let's ride. You know, there's a Bible verse I think about often, and it goes like this. It says, "Be still and know that I am God." And one of the things that I think we have a hard time doing, I know I certainly do, is just being still. In a world where your attention is constantly you're being pulled in one direction or another, we're never still. We just never are. And then when we get still, we pass out because we're so tired from not being still that we're just not effective. I need to do a better job at taking care of me. I always preach to others about eating right and taking care of themselves, and by and large, I think I do a reasonably decent job. But I could do a lot better. Do you find yourself just getting caught up in the busyness of busy, and you find yourself angry or agitated because of it? And I find myself doing that. I say yes a lot. Now, one of the things that I do have to do today, and you'll be going along for that ride, I do have to go buy some ammunition if I can find any. I'm told there's a shortage right now. Go figure. We're going to be shooting on the cheap today. Be shooting some 22, and the guy that I'm going to shoot with is a guy that I used to coach in swim, and he got on the short list of West Point, and then at the end it fell through. This was a year ago. Now we are looking at him getting another appointment, so we're doing a lot of the, well, I say we're doing a lot, he's doing a lot. He's doing a lot. I'm not doing a lot. He's getting physically fit, and the guy is super awesome. A tall, thin, lean athlete, and he's going to go far in life. It is my honor and privilege to work with him, train with him, all of that sort of stuff. And that is who I'm taking to the range today. And when he was swimming, we saw each other daily, and once you know, he graduated from high school and things started happening in life. My father got ill and died, and you know, my mother is unaccompanied now and trying to take care of things over there, and you know, traveling to California, and you know, daughter getting married and daughter moving out, and his life being super busy too. it just seems like we can't connect. I reach out and he can't go, and he reaches out and I can't go, or honestly, we just forget. And those connections that we make, we allow that busyness of busy to get in the way of our relationships. But we can't do that. So the first thing we need to remember is we can't let busyness get in the way of us and our relationship with God, and being calm and still and quiet and acknowledging the very fact that He is God. And then the other thing is we cannot let it affect our relationships with other people, albeit family or friends. That busyness can destroy, it can literally destroy your life. Years ago, when I was a manager and I was in charge of training other managers, for whatever reason, I guess they saw something special in me, other than my fancy hairdo. They saw the fact that I was very efficient and effective, and people always came first for me. But the one thing I told every young supervisor, the most important word in your vocabulary is this: no. Not let me think about it, not maybe, not we'll discuss it later, but no. So I want you to pause the video right now and say no. Okay, I know you didn't do it, so pause it right now. Just look at the video and say no. You know, learning to say no is very, very important, and learning to say no without feeling guilty about it. You know, the Bible says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. We're not to be wishy-washy, mealy-mouthed. We're not supposed to be trying to be all things to all people. Be a person of honor and integrity and loyalty, where you have a high standard, a high code, ethics, an unchanging core. If you do those things, people will understand that your no is a sincere no, and a no that matters. So relationships with God and your relationships with people. And the other thing that I mentioned earlier about the busyness of busy, that we forget to say yes to. Because we're saying yes to too many things that don't matter. Is we need to say no to other things so that we can say yes to ourselves. No, I am not speaking of being a self-centered, self-adoring, arrogant, narcissistic knucklehead, which I have been accused of being. I've been accused of all of that. But there are times you have to say yes to yourself. That doesn't mean I don't feel like doing it. That's not what I'm talking about. There are times you need to rest. You need to say no simply so you can go to bed. You need to say no so you can go for a jog, go for a walk, lift some weights. Say no to others so you can sit down and quietly have a meal by yourself. You know, those things are important. To have some reflection, to go for a motorcycle ride alone. Yeah, you have to say no. Because I can tell you, if you allow the world to pour at you, you will not have a life. I'll tell you, people are in a hurry too. If you find yourself in the busyness of being busy, you're probably that guy, right? The one that won't move over in the merge lane until he almost runs into somebody. I just had somebody do that to me. It's amazing. Folks are so busy being busy. They're extremely comfortable putting your life in danger, putting their life in danger. Don't get caught up in all that. I'm going to give you a couple of signs and symptoms of how you might know you're falling into that category. One is that, though, by the way. If you find yourself always angry and always in a hurry, you're too busy. You need to start saying no. You just have to. Because it will consume you and you will never be happy. You'll never feel fully appreciated. You'll always feel jaded. People will never be thankful or gracious enough to you. You just, you know, even if they are, you won't feel like they are. Here's another one. This is a big one. This might even come as a surprise. If you find yourself apologizing a lot, I'm sorry, but, I'm sorry, I should have, I'm sorry, if only, I'm quick to forgive. Well, one thing I don't like is a repetitive apology. Where people go, I'm sorry, and then the next day they do the same thing, I'm sorry. Do the same thing, I'm sorry. Kids do that a lot. And that's because they're learning, they're developing, that's understandable. But an adult should never be repetitive at their apologies. Instead of saying, I'm sorry I don't spend enough time with you, spend more time with that person. If you really mean it. And if you don't really mean it, then don't apologize. Because the apology doesn't mean anything. If you're saying, I'm sorry, I should be nicer, I shouldn't talk to you that way all the time, I shouldn't yell at you, I shouldn't use profane language in front of you, then apologize once and then stop doing it. And if you don't stop doing it immediately because it's a bad habit, then work on it. You know, one of the things I learned a long time ago is you're supposed to be slow to anger. So when you find people apologizing for the same things over and over again, and you find yourself getting irritated with that, be slow to anger, be quick to forgive those people, help them through it. Most people don't learn these things, and when they do learn them, they learn them as an adult. If they didn't grow up learning them, it's a hard habit to change. It really is. So be patient with people, which leads me to number 3. You're too busy if you're impatient. If you're just an impatient person, it means that you're just too busy. You're rushing and you're doing things, and it has to be done right now. Right now. Got to be done now. My father used to tell me, which I've been told this by many people, and it's very flattering. So, am I bragging? Yes, I am. My dad used to tell me, you're the most patient man I've ever known in my life. With your children, with your spouse, with your life, with the things that you have going on, you are unbelievably patient. I don't see how you do it. We would work on things together. He would see me not get all freaked out when something would tear up. Alright, so we got a few cameras going here. Where were we? Oh man, the busyness of being busy. You see a dirty spider, you take a picture of that. You don't see that very often, I can assure you. I keep this thing pretty clean. Come on, Haven, let's go inside. So the busyness of being busy has struck again. Well, tomorrow is the wedding. Coach Vic's twin sister is here, and they are out gallivanting around, as they so often do. Her sister's name is Vonnie. Vicky and Vonnie. The two V's. And man, they have their own language. They are so funny. You know, I'm jealous in the sense that I wish I had a sibling that I connected with like Vic does to Vonnie. I think it's awesome to see them together. Like I said, they have their own language, they do their own thing, and it really is sweet to see. Alright, make sure I hadn't dropped the camera or anything. Yeah, alright. Make sure I got a blinky. 10,213 miles right now. That's what we got. What we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and hit a couple of twisty roads just for chuckles and grins while we do this video. So where was I? I was talking about my father had told me I was the most patient man he had ever met in his life. Now, I will tell you, in order to be patient, one thing you have to have is perspective. Let me explain what I mean on that. So, if you're losing your patience, you know that you've probably already lost your perspective. So those are the last two things that we're going to talk about and how we know we're too busy. So what do I mean by perspective? You know, in the prayer of serenity, it talks about accepting the things that we cannot change and changing the things that we can, and the knowledge to know the difference, and honestly, or the wisdom to know the difference. And honestly, it's one of those things where it's more than that. We have to accept the very fact that we cannot change certain things. I'm going to share a story with you. Years ago, with the previous administration, and that's what I call my first wife, who died of cancer, we were heading to Valdosta. I had an Isuzu Trooper. We were heading to Valdosta. She had been through like a peripheral stem cell transplant. Things were bad. Healing up from surgery. I mean, things were rough, man. I mean, things were really, really rough. Oh, wrong road here. Sorry about that. Here we go. That's not the road I want. It's this next one. So we had decided we were going to take my Isuzu Trooper. We had been driving the van a lot, and the Trooper needed driving, and so she decided that she was going to ride with me to Valdosta to pick up the kids. So we hop in the Trooper, and this is pre-cell phone days. This is in 1998, something like that. Maybe even early 99. And we get halfway to Monticello. Well, actually, we're probably about 5-6 miles out of Monticello. And I look down, and my temperature gauge is screaming high on the Trooper, and there's steam comes billowing out from under the hood. I pull over, and you know the story. Radiator hose blown, things just burning hot. And the question is, why did the hose pop? You know, and so in my brain, I'm going, it's probably a thermostat issue. I don't know a lot about vehicles, but I knew that much just looking at it. So I end up having a screwdriver and a couple of tools in the car, of course, and take the radiator hose off, and it's got a hole blown all in it. There was no taping it up, and I go ahead and I pull the thermostat housing off and pull the thermostat out and put the housing back on so that the water will just free flow without a thermostat, which your engine, in this kind of heat, we weren't worried about it not running, you know, running cold or anything like that. And I'd put a thermostat in later. But we don't have a ride into Monticello, and we're, like I said, we're miles out. It's hot, man. It is just blistering hot. And a guy in a pickup truck comes by, and it's a ratty one, man. I mean, it's no air conditioner, beat up. The back of the truck is full of garbage. The front of the truck is full of garbage. And he offers us a ride, and we go, sure, why not? So we hop in the truck, and we ride with him to Monticello. Now, there's so much junk in the front of the truck, I just push it to the side, and I have Sheila sit in my lap. So we get into Monticello, we go to the Napa store, and we buy the hose I need. And there's a restaurant like right out in the parking lot. It's like Quick Chick. It was an old closed down Burger King or something. And so I go in there and I ask the guy if they're going to be open all afternoon. And he goes, yes, why? I said, well, I've got to run to my car and do a little bit of work on it. And he goes, where is it? I'm like, well, it's 5 miles out of town. He goes, well, we're a couple of miles to the roundabout. How far from the roundabout? I'm thinking, yeah, probably 7 miles from the roundabout. So it's about 9 miles. Well, back then I was quite the avid marathon runner. And so I'm like, I'll just run it, not a problem. So here I am with a hose in one hand and a couple of gallons of water strapped together in the other, and I'm ready to run. And the guy goes, and you're gonna leave your wife here just sitting in the air conditioning while you do that? I'm like, yeah, man, not a problem, it ain't no big thing. So I was a beast, I will tell you, I was a beast. He pulls off his apron and his hat and he tells his crew, he was the manager, he tells his crew, I'm gonna run these people to their car. So my bald-headed wife, healing up from surgery and all of the stuff going on at Shands, it was crazy. He gives us a ride back to the car, and I get the hose put back on, put a couple of gallons of water in the system to make sure I replace everything we might have lost. Sure enough, everything's running cool now, everything's fine. We drive into Monticello, top off the coolant system, and the next week I picked up a thermostat. But the point is that when we were driving, when we got back in the car, we never really got angry. In fact, we were laughing. We laughed. And as we were driving to Valdosta, after we had made the repair, we laughed even louder at what we had just been through. We looked at each other and realized, and we said it, I don't know who said it first, but we concurred. Whoever said it first, the other one agreed 100%. It sure feels good to have a normal problem, to have a problem that can be solved. You see, we had gone through a couple of years of an unsolvable problem, one that was going to, at that point, we had a pretty good idea it was going to take her life, and that she was going to leave me with 2 small children. It was the weight of the world, y'all. It was the weight of the world. And for those of you who have experienced the loss of a young wife or a young husband or a child, you know the weight I'm talking about. So, we laughed about all that because it felt good to have a normal problem. That, my friends, is what we call perspective. And if you allow yourself to lose perspective to where you equate a flat tire with cancer, you equate a flat tire, you equate a busted radiator hose with paralysis, because everything is a tragedy, no matter how small. It's because you're too busy and you've lost sight of what's important and what isn't. And I am not preaching to you like I don't do that anymore, because I still do it. Don't think that I'm telling you. I've gotten so caught up in the busyness. Tomorrow is the wedding. And when I post this video, it will be today is the wedding. And I got caught up in it this week, and I had an issue with a vacuum cleaner. A vacuum cleaner. And guys, I blew my top like a spoiled child over a vacuum cleaner. The stupidity in that is unbelievable, especially from someone who knows better. I allowed the busyness and the insanity of life to rob me of my perspective. Don't let it rob you of your perspective. It will if you let it. You have to fight it off. When you lose that, you perceive everything as the absolute end of the world. And it's not. It's just not. Wow, beautiful trees, huh? So there you have it. A little perspective on perspective. And patience. And hanging on to relationships, the things that matter. Take a little time for yourself. Relax. Enjoy your life. You know, I've often heard it said, life's too short to not be happy. And while that may be true, life's too long to be miserable. Don't be miserable. Don't allow this world to rob you of your happiness and your joy. You know, I look at things a lot differently now than I did when I was a young man. And I often tell my son, who wants to listen to some old curmudgeon riding around on a three-wheel motorcycle? And he looks at me and he goes, I do. And my friends do. One of the things that, as I talk to people about the busyness of busy, is that we eat garbage. And when I say we eat garbage, I don't mean junk food. I mean our brain. We'll put on the news and all the anger and hatred that's out there, as opposed to just saying, hey man, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna enjoy my day. I'm just gonna enjoy my day. I'm gonna turn the radio off. I'm gonna turn the TV off. I'm gonna turn the iPhone off. And I'm gonna go for a ride. I'm gonna hug my wife. I'm not gonna say anything. I just wanna hug her. I don't know that I'm gonna have her much longer. I don't know how long I'll have her. I just wanna hold her against me. I wanna smell her hair one more time. It matters. Slow down. Slow down. As I have caught myself in the last few weeks getting too busy and being a knucklehead, I hope that you don't make the same mistakes that I have made in the last few weeks. Don't lose your cool over silly stuff. So that's the video. If you would, do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel. Just subscribe to it. I hope you like the content. And if you think you can encourage someone with this, share it with them. Share it with your friends, with your real friends. Build relationships. It's called a friendship because it's a relationship. And you have to work on them. So subscribe, share, and obviously like it. Make sure that notification bell is on. So, I'm going to hit this little twisty road that I was behind a car on earlier, but I am going to say this. Until next time, you go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams, eat right, take care of yourself, and remember, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. You're probably too busy. That's right. I said it, and you know it's true. Now, go seize the day, baby. I'm going to ride as CanAm Spyder. Here we go. Little twisties. Woo! Talk to you later. Y'all have fun. Oh, it's time for a Baja Line sway bar. Anti-sway bar. Oh, she willies.